Hello and welcome to the Geek Battle Gaming YouTube channel. My name is David Postansky. Today we will be looking at the Team 17 collection, #1, the Amiga cart for the Evercade, and I'll be playing this on my Evercade VS. Now, if you haven't done so already, please take a moment to smash that subscribe button here on youtube.com/Geek Battle Gaming. Now, this week I am going to be putting up not only the Team 17 Collection 1, but Pico Collection 3. I might even get to Toa Plan Collection 1. Oh, that's meant to be Collection 2. I've got the wrong one in my hand. I don't care, because you'll see about it when I actually get to that video, as well as this month's Game of the Month Thunderpaw. But without further ado, let's deep dive into all things Team 17 and Amiga with the Team 17 Collection 1. Boom! We finally have Amiga games on the Evercade, and starting things off for representation on the retro-themed console, we have the Team 17 Collection #1, which isn't to be confused with the Worms Collection, which was also from Team 17. Yeah. The cart, which I previously previewed a couple of months ago, as most of the games appeared on the A500 Mini or can be played on Antstream Arcade, is a solid lineup, and also being on Evercade means that you have the choice of playing them on your TV through the Evercade VS, or you can play them as a handheld game either on the Evercade EXP or the original. But there is a caveat to this, which I will get to in a little while. The lineup of the games is quite a strong one, featuring ATR all-terrain racing, a trilogy of Alien Breed Special Edition 92, Alien Breed 2, and Alien Breed Tower Assault, Arcade Pool, Body Blows, Full Contact, Kingpin, Project X Special Edition 93, and Quack. Now, I didn't find that there were any bonus games with this cart available on the Evercade VS as yet, as you can sometimes find a bonus game if you insert 2 cartridges into the VS at once. I tested the collection with the Worms collection, hoping the Amiga Worms may appear, but alas, they did not. As with a lot of Evercade collections, some games are good, and some games are less so. Probably the game I will end up playing the most within the collection is Arcade Pool. This is a fun top-down pool simulation game, and is very easy to pick up and play. And now, when I say it's a simulation, obviously it's called Arcade Pool, but you know, it's a pretty good version of the sport of pool. Like the actual game of pool, you can keep coming back to it to play it again and again, just to challenge yourself and have a good time. It features not only UK 8-ball, but also US 8-ball, 9-ball, 15-ball, which I'll be honest, I didn't really fully understand, and also it has things like trick shot mode. Arcade Pool is one of those games that's easy just to think, I'll have but one more game, and it's a shame that it doesn't feature snooker on there as well, but due to the lengthy nature of how long a frame of snooker actually takes in the real sport, perhaps it wouldn't have the same pick up and play feel. Arcade Pool plays well enough with a D-pad, but truthfully, having played this back on the day on an actual Amiga, and also on the A500 Mini with a mouse is definitely the better way to play the game. Who knows if in the future Blaze will add in a way to use a mouse with the Evercade VS. I'm going to kind of cheat and lump all 3 Alien Breed games in together here. Yeah, I know, they all have their individual merits and storyline and blah blah blah, etc. But they're all pretty much the same deal. They're all top-down action games where you have to go around shooting aliens that look like they were ripped straight out of Ripley. See what I did there? Now, you go around picking up ammo and finding keys and escaping to the next area. If you love these games, you'll have a blast because this cartridge is packed with them. 3 of the 10 games on here are Alien Breed games, so if you don't like them, that may be a problem, but to be honest, I don't know why you wouldn't enjoy them, because they are quite fun. Now, it's a shame that we don't have the 2 Alien Breed 3D games as well, but I'm sure they're being saved for a later collection. The whole series has enough games that it could have been its own collection and we could have got the Alien Breed collection, but as is usually the case outside of Team 17's own Worms collection, mostly we don't get franchise-based collections on Evercade. I always loved the Alien Breed games back in the day, although I found them pretty challenging. I played the first one last year on the A500 Mini, and from my playing of it so far on the Evercade, it seems that it all works correctly. So although I've not ploughed all the way through these versions to test for bugs, I can say that these are great games and well worth your time. Speaking of bugs, I noticed that the collection had a slip of paper inside that warned you to update your system if you wanted to play the Amiga collection. And although I've been playing and reviewing it on my Evercade VS, I can now say that I cannot currently get the cartridge to be recognised by my Evercade EXP or my original Evercade. Now, I was actually super surprised by this as the EXP was updated only a month ago when the game of the month was Donut Dodo. Now, it may be that the latest update that gave us Thunder Paws is the update that has the Amiga emulator on there or some software that would make it recognised, but it is a little bit worrying. I'll be honest, I don't really want to delete Donut Dodo just yet, as Thunderpaw was kinda terrible in my opinion. So I can't test it if it's just my cart that's gone wrong or if it's the lack of the update that's the issue. It would be really annoying if I updated the system, ended up with Thunderpaw, lost Donut Dodo, which I do like, and the cart still didn't work and I had to return it to Funstock. Time will tell, I guess. Moving on. Next up, we have Quack. Quack is a charming 2D platformer where you control this Ed the Duck looking green duck who collects all sorts of random fruits and gems, as was very typical of platformers back in the day. You can shoot enemies and collect keys, and you need to do this to get to the exit before spiked balls like you'd see on the end of a mace starts to fall down from the ceiling and rain down on top of you. As a single screen platformer, it's quite a lot of fun, but you know, it is very basic. And there's about 100 levels, which should take you a few hours to get through. Quack is far from the best 2D platformer available on the Evercade, but it's inoffensive fun, which can make a nice change of pace if you have limited carts with you, if you're on those train journeys or on holiday. ATR All-Terrain Racing is a decent top-down racer. Now, I've never been super great at these, and although I felt I was getting pretty good after playing it on the A500 Mini last year, and also playing it more to do the preview a couple of months back, I found that I'd lost all my knowledge of the tracks and had to re-find the feel for the controls. The good news is that it was easy enough to pick up and play, and once you've got a sense of where the twists and turns are coming up in each race, the game starts to open up as a lot more fun. Probably won't be one I come back to very often, but again it adds to the variety of the games on the cart. Project X Special Edition 93 is a quite fun scrolling shoot 'em up. The game gives you the choice of a few different ships with different attributes, and there are a variety of power-ups which can make you feel overpowered at times as you blast through all the enemies that come at you. As an arcade-style shooter, you should be able to get through the game fairly quickly, especially if you use a cheeky save state or two. The good thing is that by using the save state feature, you can learn more of the game quickly rather than having to restart from the beginning of the game over and over again, and that way you can go back and challenge yourself to go all the way through the game in one go, top to tail if you're feeling daring. There are a good variety of enemies, and the boss fights are against big and imaginative looking enemies. There are some sections where you can crash into the scenery of things that look like they should be background objects, which can be a pain as it feels like a cheap death, but this is all part of learning the game.
Lesnar.
Kingpin is a surprisingly addictive bowling sim. The game gives you a bunch of ways to set up leagues and sessions with multiple games and players, and you can change the competency of the opponents to match your skill level. For me, Kingpin, much like the actual sport stroke activity of 10-pin bowling, is mostly about me having a solo game to challenge myself to get the maximum score that I can. The game allows you to adjust the power of your swing as well as your footing before you roll, and you have to master the timing of the aim. It's all quite good, and there are some other conditions which can keep you on your toes, such as info they give you about the lanes being waxed normally or not. This means you may have to adjust your aim and power for the next shot. Lastly on the cart are two fighting games, Body Blows and Full Contact. We'll start with Full Contact, which is a 1991 one-on-one fighter, which you can tell doesn't have the same benefit of Body Blows of coming out long after Street Fighter 2. In the game, I played as a guy that looks like a jacked up Joe Biden, topless and doing karate. You can thank me for that visual image later. You have limited moves you can do, such as straight kicks, low kicks, and jumping kicks. You can also just jump around, and it's really weird that your opponent can jump completely off screen and then you have to chase them. It doesn't keep both characters on screen like it would in Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't really enjoy this game very much, and I don't see myself going back to it often. There is some variety to the opponents, such as fighting someone with a weapon, or fighting a straight-up bulldog. Yup, this game has you fighting the dog off the Churchill advert. Oh yes. Pro tip, the dog can only attack in one direction, and that is whichever way its mouth is facing. So just jump behind it and low kick until it's done. Lastly, we come to Body Blows. I loved this game on the Amiga back in the day. When I did my preview of the games, I found that I couldn't get Body Blows to run at a playable speed on the A500 Mini. It was always much too fast. And I also had issues with it on Antstream Arcade. Don't know if that'd still be the case, but either way, it was today where I really got to play it properly. And I am happy to report that I had no issues on the Evercade edition. Well, except one. During a versus screen, I found that the game completely froze up and I couldn't even access the Evercade home screen menu. I get the sense that the Amiga emulation on the Evercade may be slightly trickier beast to handle than others, so players may run into an issue here or there, but hopefully this is a one-off because I didn't have any problems after I reset the game. After a little while of refamiliarizing myself with the game that I haven't played properly in 27 years, I found it was really fun. It does a really good job of being an Amiga take on Street Fighter 2 and does a decent job of giving each character a surprising number of unique and special moves, considering you only have one action button. For my playthrough, I played as Nick, which is like this game's Ken from Street Fighter, and he also really reminds me of Terry from King of Fighters with his fight style and the fact that he wears a baseball cap through the fights. With 10 characters to choose from, there is a decent amount to come back and play through the game as each fighter. The final boss of the game is very cool, and is one of those hilarious 1990s video game situations where the developers just didn't care that they were ripping off a movie. I thought Max, who is the final boss, seemed an unusual final boss until his skin melted away and he became the T-17, which in every way is a Terminator. It's funny that Team 17, who the T-17 is named after, used the T-800 from the Terminator and also used the xenomorphs from Alien for Alien Breed, just like they were public domain. Copyright, who cares? I mean, I don't think any big game could get away with this nowadays, but it's cool that these games can still be released and re-released years later where they didn't have to worry about the legal issue. But imagine if the Terminator guys or Disney, if they now owned Alien, if they suddenly said, hey, look, this, we're going to sue, and it's like, but this is a 30-year-old game. Anyway, I digress. To wrap things up, I'd say that my picks for the best games on the cart are Body Blows, the Alien Breed games, and Arcade Pool. Quack and Project X are both decent. There are lots of better examples of their genre on the Evercade already. Kingpin and ATR are also fun enough, but maybe ones I only go to if I'm particularly in the mood for them. I do really like Kingpin, but it's not the reason to buy the cart for me. Lastly, we have Full Contact, which I really didn't get much joy from. So that's going to wrap up this review of the first Amiga cartridge for the Evercade, and I hope you have fun playing it. Do make sure you check out my other review, which should have just gone up, of the Pico Collection 3, and to check out tomorrow, because it's a little bit late, but I will have my review of Thunderpaw, which, as you probably can tell, I'm not that keen on.